coaching staff. I think Coach Foss, just what he has built, I think is very, something very special. And, I wanted to be a part of that, man. And, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be a part of it.
What have you learned the most thus far, Coach Foss, as you guys continue to cultivate that relationship?
Yeah, Coach Foss is a great player coach, man. He relates to us, and you need that in the locker room from a head coach like that. He played the position, played running back, at the highest level. And I think, as a player coach, it just makes the guys 10 times more comfortable with it.
What's the biggest lesson you learned in just your whole college career thus far?
Biggest lesson I learned in my whole college career? Are you talking about from games or?
Just in general, the whole process.
Yeah, man, I think just to keep my head down and be humble, man. I think, don't let the outside noise affect me or what I got going on. And, man, focus on me and, who I love.
What's it like having all those Long Beach, all those LA, guys you played against in high school, and now you're your teammates? Especially
yeah, it's been great, man. It's crazy to see the journey that, a lot of us have been on. Just growing up as kids and going through high school together, playing with them in 7-on-7 tournaments. And then, to see where we're at now, a lot of us made it out. So, I'm very excited to play with them again and put on that UCLA uniform.
There was so much speculation, after you left Tennessee about that whole situation. What was that like for you with all the rumors flying around and, you didn't come out publicly? I mean, can you walk us through that week and, then the week when you decided to come to UCLA? What was that like for you behind the scenes?
Yeah, for me, it was a lot, it was a tough situation to be in. At the end of the day, I did what was best for me, and that was getting back, home to my family and closer to my family while still competing at the highest level. And man, it was a crazy week, but man, I'm only focused on my future now, and I'm excited to be a part of UCLA.
Nico, coming into this season, how do you try and block out a lot of the outside noise because it was such a dramatic situation, a quick change to go from Tennessee to UCLA with the season right around the corner? How do you stay focused personally on what's ahead?
Yeah, I think that just starts from within, man. I got a great support system with my family. My parents do a great job at supporting me, and man, I think that just the whole football team and the whole coaching staff have done a great job just welcoming me and making me feel comfortable to be a part of UCLA. And man, I can't wait for the season, man. It's almost around the corner, and man.
How do you build synergy with your teammates?
How do you
build synergy with your teammates going into the season?
Yeah, I think just strengthening our relationships. Off the field, on the field. I think just doing more stuff with them, that you wouldn't normally do with teammates. I think, taking them boys out to eat, taking them boys to go bowl, anything like that, just to strengthen our bond. And we got fall camp coming around the corner, so it'll be good, for a lot of guys that, that we don't know each other well, for us to bond well in the hotel. And, man, get ready for the season.
Just want to get your thoughts on, obviously, week two for you guys against UNLV playing here in Las Vegas on that Monday.
Yeah, UNLV, man, that'll be another good test for us. I've never played in Las Vegas, so it'll be a cool experience for me. Man, I can't wait. I think every game on the schedule is a big one for us, and we're excited to go through ourselves.
Nico, two-parter here. Last year didn't go great in Columbus for you. What was a lesson maybe that you learned from that night? You guys are going back there at the end of the season. What's something that maybe you're looking forward to when you go back to play Ohio State?
Yeah, I think last year, what I took from the game is, not to let anything that happens in the game, sway how we're thinking about the game. I think we let that first half affect our team and how we performed in the second half. But yeah, I think just keeping our composure and going into big games like that and responding well was the main thing I took from that. Going into the game, man, I'm excited to catch those boys again, man. It'll be a big test for me. I know they want to, beat me pretty bad again, like they did the first time. So, I'm gonna try and hold my own, man. I'm excited, with the guys I'm gonna go to war with, and man, we're building something special.
How challenging was the cold of that game? Because it was like in the 20s.
Yeah, it was like, they said it was like 11 degrees, felt like 4, man, and it was pretty cold, man. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't feel my hands on in pregame warm up like that. It was hard to warm up, but once I got the adrenaline flowing, I thought, I did a good job at, just getting acclimated with the game.
How did you? What was it like with the helmet in that game too? Because it cracked. At
Yeah,
one
yeah,
point.
man. I took some shots, man. I cracked 2 helmets in the game. Two of the, my Vice's helmets. And, I had to switch to my third one, and it was a hard, tough game, man. I think the weather played a lot of effect in that. Just it being so cold, and yeah, man, it was a fun game though.
What did that game kind of tell you about what Big Ten football is like?
Man, I've always watched Big Ten football, and I've always thought, that they've had the best players in the country playing the Big Ten and the SEC. So, it wasn't really, what it told me about the Big Ten. I knew we were going against a tough opponent, and that, we didn't show up how we should have. So, I took that L to the chin, and, I'm excited for this year.
Coming in from the SEC and now the Big Ten, kind of what is your perception of kind of how these two conferences compare to each other?
Yeah, it's 2 great conferences that, have their own traditions. I'd say the SEC got, some crazy fans in the SEC. They really bring it every game. So, you really feel the environment in away games and home games. So, I think, I'm not too familiar with the Big Ten and how the games are played, but, this year I'm excited, for that challenge. And, I know they have a lot of great players in the league, and, I'm excited to
Nico,
go compete against them.
talk about your offensive expectations going from Coach Heupel's system to Coach Sinceri.
Yeah, really, there's no expectation. The expectation is for me to be better. I got to get better with Coach Tino, and we had a great offense at Tennessee. I think just the difference is with Tennessee being wide splits. I think Coach Tino brings a more post style, condensed splits offense. That I'm comfortable with, and yeah, man, I'm excited to play for Coach Tino.
What were your first impressions of him? Coach Tino. What were your first impressions of him?
My first impressions of Coach Tino were, he's a high energy guy, man. He brings a lot of high energy, and man, I wanted to go play with him. The first day I met him, I felt that comfortable. And, he just has that certain presence in him that makes you want to play.
One of the things that was written when you left Tennessee was that there were some concerns about the offensive line. How accurate was that, and what's been kind of your early assessment of UCLA's offensive line?
Say that again?
One of the things that was written when you left Tennessee was that the family had concerns about the offensive line in Tennessee. Was that accurate? And then
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Where you guys. I love my O-line last year. Had a great O-line. Lance Hurry, Cooper Mays, John Campbell, Spraggins, and I love those guys.
what's your early assessment of your new line at UCLA and those guys like Garrett?
Yeah, man, I love the O-line, man. They had my back since I got in day one. And just them being very accepting of me when I first got there and just welcoming me, I felt good with them. So.
Garrett took you bowling? Did you?
Yeah. Me and Garrett and the whole line, the whole QB room went out to the Go Bowl and just had a good time. Ate some pizza, had a few, lemonade, Sprites, and we just had a good time. So.
When exactly did you make the decision to leave Tennessee, and what was your communication with Josh Heupel when that was going on?
My time to leave Tennessee was around the time that I think probably the reports came out. Just false reports that made me not feel comfortable in the position I was in. But in the back of my head, I always wanted to come back home and be closer to my mom, be closer to my dad, and just have my family, their support, at our games, and in our Samoan culture, I think we're always together, and I think that was the main thing for me, the driving factor for me.
What false reports you talking about?
Say it again.
What false reports you talking about?
Just false stuff about whether it was a financial thing or not. My driving factor to come back home was my family, and I hope every Tennessee fan understands that that it was really one of the hardest decisions that I ever had to make. But I had to do what was best for me and my family, and ultimately I wanted to come back home and be closer to my family.
Do you wish that had happened maybe before spring so that you didn't have to go through all that? Maybe
Yeah, definitely, man. It's just a lot of drama, but man, I'm excited to be at UCLA.
Nico, what's one or two things that you've been working on the most since last year that you're sort of most excited to showcase within the game this year and how your game has evolved?
I think just the cerebral side of football, man. Quarterback is it's a tough position to play, and I think just me getting not the physical aspect down. I think I have that down. I think just the mental side of the game. I'd say probably 90% of playing the position is really your brain. So I think Coach Tino has just, taught me how to use it, and it's put me in great positions to, go out there and be successful.
Nico, did you think that your decision to end up at UCLA with Joey to leave, and what do you think of him kind of ending up back where you were?
No, I don't think so. My mindset was going in to compete with whoever was in there for the starting spot, and I don't think my decision coming to UCLA altered his decision to go to Tennessee. But I wish him nothing but the best. I know he's going to get the best fans over there. He's going to have a great fan base, and hopefully he gets to experience all the positive things that I experienced there.
Coach Foster mentioned that in that Ohio State game, he was impressed with the toughness you showed in that game. How much for you is toughness something you pride yourself on?
Yeah, man. Toughness it just comes with not wanting to quit, man. I think I always want to win. I hate losing. Losing is just kind of makes it's not in me. I hate to lose. So I think when I'm trying to go out there and win a game, whether that's however many hits I take, I'm gonna do anything it takes to go out there and try to get it done.
Saying that, obviously, UCLA has had its share of struggles over the years. How much do you kind of view that as a challenge to make it so that they don't lose as many games?
A great challenge, man. I think everybody in the locker room has a chip on their shoulder. And our coaches have a great expectation for us to meet, and yeah, man, we're gonna go out there and prove ourselves right, man. That we're gonna go out there and be a successful team and have a great year.
What's one thing that's maybe surprised you since coming to UCLA about campus or the alumni or the football program?
Yeah, I would say the how much alumni come back to the school. I think I've seen a lot of guys work out. And just NFL pros in general. We got guys like DK Metcalf that works out there a lot. I see him every morning. And it just feels good to see a lot of pros around good.
How did Coach Foster help you manage that, a lot of scrutiny and hype you were getting when you were moving over to UCLA? What was he telling you during that time?
I think Coach Foster has went through what I'm going through now, just being a college athlete and trying to make it to that next level. So he knows all the ins and outs of what reporters write and how it can affect the players. So I think he just his experience alone, just me taking that from him and handling the situation.
How are you approaching this season in terms of your NFL future? Like, if you got the season you won and the season UCLA wants, you might be ready to move on, or how are you kind of looking at that?
Yeah, man. This is a year where I'm really trying to get out of. So, I'm gonna give my all to UCLA, and if I have the year I want, I want to do that.
You played in flag football tournaments out here in Las Vegas. Can you talk about your excitement